A Philadelphia city councilman wants 20% of all new apartment development in the city to be affordable, but that will lead to the other 80% being unaffordable. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of the city of Philadelphia. Philadelphia is another one of those far left-leaning East Coast cities that has politicians there that think that, hey, the best way to make housing and more affordable is by government intervention. You know, they think the government is the solution to everything. And that's what socialists believe. Okay, so they want to mandate that all new housing construction have 20% of the units be affordable. Okay, and this is a horrible idea. I've read all sorts of studies that say that developers, when they read that, hey, a certain percentage of the housing has to be affordable, a lot of developers just say, hey, we're not even going to develop there. We're going to go outside of the city. We're going to go somewhere else where there aren't those regulations and put all of our money there instead. And the few developers who do develop there, they ask for huge government subsidies because the units themselves and the development itself is no longer profitable. Okay, they take away the profit incentive. The other 80% of units on top of that they have to be basically high-end luxury units to even make it somewhat feasible. It's ridiculous and it's stupid, and it's making it so that, you know, cities like Philadelphia, they have the super affordable housing, which was mandated, you know, basically housing for the poor. Then they have the super luxury housing, which is the only thing the developers can even build, right? And there's nothing in between. That is a horrible idea. And it blows my mind that they would even think of considering this sort of thing. Instead, they need to unleash the developers. Allow the developers to build as much as they want, wherever they want. They are not going to build, 100,000 luxury units. There aren't that many people who can afford high-end luxury units. But if they make it so that the developers don't have to jump through hoops and they can build just regular housing for people, then that would be the best thing for them. You know, I absolutely hate reading that they think the government needs to intervene in everything. People need less government regulation, okay? Less, not more. Okay, more rules, more laws that we have to jump through, another approval process. No. The only people who can manage all that are these really big time, extremely large developers. And in the past, you would have small guys, you know, guys like me or guys who don't have this huge source of money, and they would be able to build housing, and, you know, maybe I'd do a one-off project and, you know, it would work out well. But now, unless you've got hundreds of millions of dollars and a huge structure and, you know, people in City Hall, etc., you can't get that kind of thing done. So yeah, it's pretty bad. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you believe that, you know, it's a good idea to require developers within a city to have a certain percentage of homes just for affordable housing, okay? Or do you believe that developers should be able to build whatever they want? Okay, I've already told you what I think. I'm just curious what you think about the whole situation. I believe that kind of thing is just, you know, it's a waste of time, it's ridiculous, and it discourages development. So this article is coming from the Philadelphia Inquirer, and it says, Philly Council President Darrell Clark considers mandatory affordable housing for development in his district. Let's get into it. City Council President Darrell L. Clark is considering greatly expanding requirements that developers include affordable housing in new construction projects, but with income targets that wouldn't solely aid low-income Philadelphians. Clark's bill, which the Inquirer obtained an advance copy of, would set so-called mandatory inclusionary zoning requirements for most large construction projects across his district, which spans much of North Philadelphia, part of Fishtown, and a swath of Center City that includes Rittenhouse Square. Under the proposed guidelines, all new projects with 10 or more units would be required to price 20% of those dwellings below market rate sale prices or asking rents. So yeah, they're taking away the incentive for a landlord to build anything that is for just the middle class. And imagine you're just building a 10 unit building. You want to build a 10 unit building here in Philadelphia, right? Now, already it's not going to be cheap. The land costs are going to be expensive. The development costs are going to be expensive. You got to jump through all their permitting processes, etc., right? And then they tell you, well, now you can't even collect market rate rents on 2 of those units. You only have a 10 unit building. They're telling you, well, 2 of those units you're basically going to have to give away to poor people for free. Now that leaves you with trying to make up for that lost amount with the other 8 units. So a developer is going to say, hey, I am going to basically build those other 8 units. They have to be high-end luxury. Otherwise, I won't be able to make up for the lost rent on these 2 over here. And those 2, what you're going to do is you're going to build them as cheap and cruddy as possible. Like if it was me personally, I'd make it like a basement, a basement unit that opened up to a dirty alley or something, right? And then build the other ones with beautiful scenic views and looking nice. The basement units might not even have any amenities whatsoever. It looks like cheap. Home Depot, we got the cheapest stuff from Home Depot to as all the fixtures, just real basic, and the other ones all high-end finishes, etc. I've heard of in New York City where they have this inclusionary zoning stuff where they create what they call a pour door, right? And that means that all of the cheap, affordable units in the building, they have their own little back entrance, and then they have the nice, beautiful front entrance for all the people with the luxury units. So yeah, that's what ends up happening. And do you blame the developer? The developer has to do what they have to do in order to make a profit. So yeah, I can't say that I blame them whatsoever, but the truth of the matter is that is only taking into consideration the developers who actually want to still build within the city. Now, what they don't talk about is the fact that, hey, the grand majority of developers do not want to deal with this inclusionary zoning stuff at all. So they're really scaring away the majority of developers. The majority of developers are like, no, I'm just not going to do that. Philadelphia has, tons of suburbs, and there's multiple counties. And, I believe even there's places in New Jersey that are nearby that, we can develop in that don't have these laws. And, we can build there. There's no inclusionary zoning laws there. We can make just as much money. We can charge whatever rents we want, and we don't have to deal with this nonsense. So, that's what most developers end up doing. So it becomes a situation where, guess what? A lot of housing doesn't get built. This is why there is housing shortages. They don't understand that the laws they put in place are the reason for the housing shortages. So yeah, I just thought I'd bring a quick overview of this situation there, and let you know that I think the whole inclusionary zoning thing is a ridiculous joke, and it really is hurting real estate development. It is hurting the affordable housing issue within these cities more than it's helping.